Good morning. We are extremely pleased that you are here. It is good to come together for the purpose of co-creating. Do you agree?
Yes.
Co-creating at its best, really. We're ringing just a little bit. We see you have brought your non-physical counterparts with you. Many more of us than there are of you. But we are eager to play with you because you are the leading edge of thought. Do you know that? You are out here as physical extensions of source energy, doing precisely what you said you would do. You're here living in, observing, synthesizing, calculating, perceiving, moving about in this mix of contrasts that you call life on planet Earth. We call it the leading edge place of creation. And as you just live your life, and we don't mean to diminish that in any way, by merely living your life, you fulfill everything that you intended when you came forth, because you knew that the consequence of focusing and observing would cause a natural evolution. You knew that you could not, no one can, no point of consciousness can stand in a place of variety without coming to constant new conclusions about what you would prefer. It's just the way we are all oriented. And when we say we all, we are including us in you, because you can't go off without us. You are an extension of that which we are, and you cannot, no matter what, separate yourself from our awareness of you. So as you come into this time-space reality and you see what you don't want, and it helps you to identify what you do want, you are doing that more precisely on more levels than any of you would consciously ever have any idea. You are literally synthesizing the data of this time-space reality and coming to endless conclusions of new improvements. And the thing that makes this so wonderful, and the thing that makes it work so well, is that each of us, you, every point of consciousness is selfishly oriented. And by that we mean you cannot perceive other than through the eyes of self. And it also means that because you understand law of attraction, and because law of attraction is the basis of everything that exists, it means that whatever it is you are doing, wherever you are being, however you are feeling, is your point of attraction. And you can't help but conclude what you prefer. And in the moment that you come to a new conclusion about what you prefer, law of attraction begins to respond to that. Now, we don't think that many of you have even given any thought to that. You're so selfish, which is a good thing. But we think it is a good thing that you give some thought to that. In other words, we want you to understand the big picture, because we want you to understand how it is that law of attraction is responding to the work that you are doing. How it is that the work that you are doing is adding powerfully, dynamically, perfectly, just as you knew it would, to all that is, to the evolution of all that is. So we're going to give you this very brief depiction, because we want you to get this one point that we don't think any of you understand fully. And when you do, you're going to click into a whole new place of knowing that is going to serve you so well. So before you were in this body, you were source energy. But we cannot say you are now only in this body, because you are still source energy, and part of that perspective is focused into this physical body. So here in this physical body, as you examine the contrast of this time-space reality, you come to a new preference. You just can't help but do it. If you don't have enough of something you want, that preference is born. And here's the critical part that you don't know that we want you to know. When in your body, on this leading edge, you come to a new idea of what you want, even if you're not speaking it, when that new idea is born within you, source energy moves immediately to that new idea. So if you're sick, you automatically, at every level of your being, cellular level too, you ask for wellness, and the source energy part of you moves dynamically and instantaneously and precisely to that wellness that you are asking for. Now, hear this. And when that happens, law of attraction responds to that new vibration where the source energy part of you is. Do you get that? In other words, it's not just that law of attraction is responding to the vibration of your thoughts here in this physical body. Law of attraction is responding to the thought that you derived from being here, that source energy rode the rocket of and is now holding in its vibration. And law of attraction is now responding to that new, evolved, expanded version of you. Now, what happens when law of attraction responds to something? There is an energy of pulling toward it. There's a literal current that happens. And that current, we want to begin calling it, maybe others already have, but we think it would be so aptly named, is the current of life, or the stream of life. It is this stream of well-being. It is this eternal force. So think about this eternal cycle that we just expressed to you. From your non-physical perspective, you said, I want to be physical. From being physical, you say, I would like this improvement in physicality on the leading edge. And source energy said, you should know, you're the pioneer out there on the leading edge, and nobody would know better what would improve your life experience than you, right there living it and synthesizing it. And so when you come to a conclusion, consciously or unconsciously, that you want something, source says, good idea, and becomes it, and offers the vibration of it so powerfully that law of attraction responds to that vibration, and a current is affected. Not just a current, the current of life. Not just the current of life, the only current of life. In other words, there's not a stream of sickness. There's only a stream of wellness, which you're going with or not. There's not a stream of evil. There's only a stream of goodness and well-being, which you're going with right now or not. And what we want you to gather as a result of the hours that we are together here today is that when you go with that stream, you thrive, and when you hold yourself apart from it, which you can't totally do, but when you try, you don't thrive. In other words, you will always go with that stream because it is an eternal stream that you cannot separate yourself from. You can pinch yourself off from it pretty good while you're here in this physical body by beating the drum of things you don't want and holding yourself apart from what you have actually become. But you cannot separate yourself from this stream, and in the moment that you croak, we love that disrespectful word, because there is no death. In the moment that you croak, you move right to the expanded version of you. In other words, there could be a gap while you're in your physical experience from who you really are and who you're allowing yourself to be. In other words, when you are source energy before you come into this body, you are one powerful stream of well-being. The vibration of you is all about thriving. It's all about well-being. It's all about knowing. And then when a part of that consciousness expresses itself here into a physical body like you, there is a slight variation in your vibration even in the day that you were born, just from what you're observing of the physicality, just from what you're observing of what is not wanted in the physical. In other words, everything has what is wanted and lack of it, and just by being born, you pick up on the vibration of your mother, who started worrying about you the moment you were born. In fact, she worried about you long before you were born. She got a pretty good worry raft going there, and now you are born and she's worrying about you, and you're sensitive and you're picking up on her vibration, and you're not the pure vibration that you were just seconds ago. Not to worry though, because the dominant vibration is still there, and anyway, you're going to go to sleep, and when you do, you become one vibration again. Then you wake up, you go to sleep, you wake up, you go to sleep, you begin to adapt to the vibration of your time-space reality, and nothing's terribly wrong, even if there's a little split in your vibration. We're just pointing out to you that your perspective here in this physical body does not allow you to have the pure vibration that you had when you were only non-physical energy. It's just the way it is, and we lovingly say to you, with every bit of love that we can muster, deal with it. It's just the way it is. It's just the way it is. You will never be able to be pure, positive, non-physical energy as long as you're here in this physical body, because you are the pioneers out here on the leading edge of thought. It's sort of like Jerry and Esther. They were talking last night when they got their first monster bus. The only time Esther was totally at ease was when the bus was parked somewhere. And when it was time to start that big engine and hook it all up and get out on the roadways, it was a white-knuckle flight for quite a while because it was big and scary. She prefers driving to being parked because it is the known is there. It's not unknown. But in the beginning, when you come forth into this physical leading edge experience, the security isn't what it is in non-physical, where you know that well-being abounds. As you come into a physical environment and you're born to a mother who right away is worried about something bad happening to you because she's been trained every day of her life, watch out, that'll kill you, watch out, that'll kill you, watch out, that'll kill you. And so you're born, as you come into this leading edge environment, you pick up some of the counterproductive vibrations, and you're just not as pure, and it's all right. So then the longer you live in this physical body, the more potential you have to find things to fuss and worry about. And the more things you find to fuss and worry about, the less you are in alignment with who you are. And what happens with most humans is you learn to sort of acclimate to whatever you're feeling. So being ornery is sort of normal, and being irritated with one thing and another is sort of normal, and putting up with not having everything that you want becomes sort of normal. You begin to adjust to ideas like the world doesn't revolve around you, which is not true. You begin to adjust to ideas such as everything's not supposed to work out for you, and that's not true either. You adjust to ideas like you are not the center of the universe, and that's just not true. It's just not true. You are the center of your universe. You are the center of your point of attraction. And you've come into this environment to decide what it is you want. So here's how it works. You're born. You live. You see what you don't want. You identify what you don't want, which helps you to know what you do want. And in the moment that that preference is born, whether it's a big one or a small one, whether you're really aware of it or not, for example, when you're rude to someone, you want to be nicer. When someone's rude to you, you want them to be nicer. If you don't have enough of something you want it. If you're sick, you want to be well. In other words, it's just the way the contrast serves us all. So you are constantly giving birth to these preferences, and source energy in every single case is immediately turning its undivided attention to your new evolved idea of you. So there is this you that is evolving, that is becoming, that in incremental pieces, in other words, segment by segment, thought by thought, emotion by emotion, experience by experience, you are expanding to be something more than you were just before you had that experience. In other words, when you have an experience where someone tells you that they're going to do something one way, and so you agree to it, a contract of some kind, an agreement of some kind, and so you come to an agreement and you sign it or you agree to it, and then they don't keep their word. Then you feel betrayed. But in the middle of that betrayal, a powerful, I want to deal with people who keep their word, is born. In the middle of that, I wish that I'd followed my guidance more clearly, is I'm going to pay more attention to my guidance desire. In other words, everything that happens causes you to, even if you're not able to clearly speak about it, you offer a clear vibration of improvement and expansion, because life is serving you in that way. And the source energy part of you doesn't say, oh, let me think about it. The source energy part of you says, you have lived the life and you have come to the conclusion and it's valid, and now we will be it. So now the inner being part of you, and oh, what an expansive, incredible energy that is, the expanded version of you, now stands exhilarated at this expansion and never ever for a moment looks back at the deception that created this evolution. Hear that? You, however, you do quite a bit of looking back. You beat up on yourself. You say, I should have known better. You beat up on them. You say they should have known better. You talk to friends to try to get them to agree with you. You join online user groups to hash it out more fully. And so the non-physical part of you has benefited from your life experience and has expanded as a result of it and stands with law of attraction, responding to that new vibrational version of you. And the question that this workshop wants to ask you and answer you is, and what are you doing in relationship to that expanded version of you? The answer is, if you're feeling good, you're in alignment with it. But if you're feeling bad, you're out of alignment with it. And if you're out of alignment with it, then there is a gap between you and you. And the simplest way of explaining this to you is you're just not letting yourself stay up to speed with who you have become. And you know what? That just drives you crazy. You don't know why you feel crazy. You don't know what the uneasiness is often. You don't know what that feeling of unfulfillment is. You don't know why you're so agitated at doing this and that and the other. But we'll tell you every single time what that agitation is, what that fear is, what that uneasiness is, what that anger is, what that depression is, what that every bit, every particle, big or small, of negative emotion is your indication that for some reason right now you're focused in a way that's keeping you from being a match to you. Sort of like a two-headed monster, and we just want both heads to go in the same direction. And we want you to understand that you don't have to even completely close the gap in order to feel better, because as we said to you, you can't keep that gap completely closed because you're pioneers out here on the leading edge. You're constantly going to be dealing with life. Even if you hold yourself up in some magnificent little feathered nest, you'd still find things that would cause you to expand. In other words, you are an expanding being. You cannot stop your expansion, nor would you want to. But here in this physical body, you've got to find a way, if you want to be happy, to keep up with your expansion, or to at least point in the direction of what you are asking for. So the best analogy that we've come up with so far, we think it is a perfect analogy for the point that we're wanting to make with you, is imagine that you've taken your canoe down to the river's edge and it's a fast-moving stream. So you set your canoe in the water, you've got your oars already in it, and now you deliberately turn your canoe upstream and begin paddling against the current. And we would say to you, friend, why not turn and go with the current? And humans invariably say to us, what? That just seems lazy. Oh, I suppose some will do that, but anyone who amounts to anything is like me paddling upstream, because there is not gain without pain, humans say. And anyway, I've learned it from all the others, and anybody that is amounting to anything, at least they'll tell you, you got to paddle upstream. It's what my mother did, it's what her mother did. It's just what we all do. And it seems, you say, that all of the rewards and monuments are left to those who struggled the hardest. The harder the struggle, the bigger the monument. And I want a monument. And then the big thing, you don't always say it, but it's in your vibration powerfully. Humans say, and we have heard rumors that after we die, the rewards that are given are based on the power of our struggle.